I'm Kila.
And I'm Ashley.
And we met on TikTok.
2 trailers, 1 park.
And we were raised by 2 mother hustlers.
I raised my mama.
Oh my gosh, I did too.
Well, let's talk about that. We can talk shit about our moms, but no one else can.
We're back, bitches.
Hello, San Francisco.
Yep.
I'm just kidding. Everything.
Kila and Ashley.
Hey, y'all.
Coming back to talk trash.
That's right. We have the gift of gab, so.
We do. We get it from our mama.
That's right. So today we're gonna introduce ourselves and we're gonna talk about how we met.
Oh, yeah.
How this chemistry got formed.
Okay, so this one time I was dating this guy, and then Ashley was the side chick. I'm
Right.
just kidding.
And then we decided that we didn't like him. We don't like each other, but we no.
That's a joke. We met on TikTok.
Yes. So I was at home one night and I got like 3 or 4 messages from followers that were like, "Do you know the Lost and Found sisters?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love them." And she was like, "Well, they're talking about you on their live." So I went to their live and I was like, "Oh my God," I was fangirling them. And then Kila was like, "Oh my God, she's fangirling me." And I'm like, "What the heck?"
I had a crush on her. She was my favorite TikTok star.
So we went back and forth for like 2 or 3 hours that night. We kept timing out on like
Instagram. Because we were Instagram live.
Yes. And Kila is a go-getter. Everybody needs a Kila in their life. If she wants it, she's going to get it. So Kila was like, "We're going to make this relationship work." And I was like, "Okay," because I'm kind of flaky. So I'm one to I don't keep up, my end of the bargain sometimes. I'm like, "Yeah, I really want to stay home." So, but Kila was like, "No, we're meeting."
Oh, because Kate had a ball game.
Yep. And we're going to be friends. And so we did.
Yep.
Who knew?
I know.
Here we are.
Things you
Thought were
learn
normal. Yeah.
in a trailer park.
Yeah. True.
I
Yeah.
didn't live in a park, though. I wish I lived in a park.
I just asked Kila that. I said, "Were you raised in a trailer park?" She said, "No, I was raised just in a trailer." I was like, "Oh, you didn't get the support system of the park."
No, like one time we used to live in California, 29 Palms, California, because everybody's like, California. And I'm
Ooh,
like,
yeah.
it was a desert with,
Right.
sidewinders and horny toads. And
Wait, what is
Yeah.
that? What?
a horny toad, it's a lizard.
I know what that is, but what's the?
A sidewinder, it's
Yeah.
a rattlesnake.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and they go to the side. So that's why they call them, I don't know.
oh, okay.
That's what they call them in California. So we had a trailer, a single wide on a big piece of nothing, sand,
Dirt. Yeah, right.
tumbleweeds.
Gotcha. So you lived in trailers, but never the park.
Never a park. no.
Gotcha.
I wish I had a park so I could ride a bike or,
Yeah. Well, you didn't really want to be riding bikes through our park. I mean, you could. You probably wouldn't have the bike the next day, but it's fine.
And my husband now, our house, we have foundation issues. And I'm like, why don't we just sell this and just buy a double wide trailer?
Right.
He's like, no. And I'm like, why?
When we were house hunting, my husband said, "I only have one rule." And I was like, "Okay." He was like, "No trailers." And I was like, "Oh, darn." Like,
They're nice now. They're not even trailers. They're modular homes.
Yeah. He was talking about like a single wide. I was like, duh. Like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
if I don't have to, I'm not going to.
I don't know that I ever lived in a double wide, though. Ours were always single.
I've as a grown adult, I've lived in a double wide, but never. We lived in like campers and shit in the trailer park. Like literally, our landlord, if you could fit a piece, anything that would hold humans, she put it there. Whether it was a shed or a camper, in Section 8's going to pay for it. So
Hey, listen, and now that I have all these sisters, and we only have a 3-bed, we have a small house.
yeah,
So we're like 1,000 square feet. I'm
Yeah.
like, we just need to buy a little trailer to put in the back.
That's
and
right.
Brian's like, well, you're not. Get rid of the trailer idea.
it's like Hagen. We're not buying a trailer. I'm like, okay,
I'm like, a shed, maybe?
a she shed.
Yeah,
Yes.
but a trailer's nicer than a she shed.
that
You
is
have to
true.
start from the beginning. Trailer comes with, everything.
Right, that is true.
Yeah.
That
so
is true.
Who
So-
knows? But for my sister one time, they were coming up for 4th of July. I went and bought a glamping tent.
You did?
Because I'm like, I'm going to have to put these heifers in a glamping tent. But you can put an air conditioner in it.
Did you do all that?
Well, no.
Oh,
I bought it and then they didn't come.
Oh.
So we're just now getting it out for the first time for a friend's graduation party. But
oh, nice.
yeah.
Tell me about your lost and found story.
Oh,
Your
how I met
ancestry.
the heifers?
Mhm.
Well, my daughter called at Christmas time and wanted to know if my husband and I wanted a DNA test. And I'm like, no, because my luck could have turned out my dad wouldn't even be my dad.
Exactly.
Which is
And-
what happened.
Mm.
Mhm. And So she did the test anyway, and like 3 weeks later, she called me wanting to know who Dixie was, and I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "Mom, I mean, it's my closest relative. Her name is Dixie Ball. Do we know Balls?" And I'm like, "Charlie Ball." She's like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
I
Either
just know the
Daddy's
name.
friend or my mom's friend. I just know the name. I don't even know who this man is." So I called my aunt. We Googled Charlie Ball. His obituary popped up. He died the day after my mom, which I thought was really weird. And I was like,
Yes.
"Well, how crazy is that?"
Right.
And then his obituary popped up, and there was like a photo tribute. So I was looking, and like the third picture was Dixie, because Dixie I had a picture of. I knew the name Dixie,
Right.
but I didn't know. I thought she was like my mom's second cousin's third child
Right.
removed or
Right.
whatever. I don't know. I just have a picture of her. But the same picture of Dixie was in his obituary, and my daughter and I were like, "Oh, it's a little wonky."
Yeah.
So then I did the DNA test, and I knew when I did it that it was going to come back that she was my sibling. So I paid $39 to do background checks on everybody. And then sure enough, it come back, and Dixie didn't have a whole lot. That none of them really did, like on the background check.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, they might be normal," but some
Right.
of them just dropped off,
Right.
which is because Cassie was in federal prison for 12 years. That's why she
Right.
dropped off. But so,
The rest
but
is
she looked
history.
normal. I reached out to her, and then she sent me a message back because I was like, "Hey, guess what? I think we're sisters." And she was like, "Oh, it must be my dad's side." And I was like, "Look, I ain't got no money, and I lived a
Right.
colorful life."
Right.
And she was like, "Well, me too. But I live different from the rest of my family."
It's amazing that to see y'all now and to realize that y'all have not always been together.
I know my husband was like, "You cannot go meet this lady." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I can." I
Right.
mean, and then everybody was against it. Like, "Do you want to open this can of worms?" I'm like, "Yeah, she might be my family." I mean,
Right.
I would have been more surprised had it been like, somebody that was rich and had money.
Right.
And then
Right.
I'd have been like, "No."
Right. Right.
But
Yeah, that's too good to be true.
yeah. So
Yeah.
then I met Cassie, and then Dixie's like, "Oh, you have 4 more." And I'm like, "What the hell?" I was prepared for Dixie.
Just keeps going.
And going. And there's still people coming in on the app.
Yeah.
And going.
Yep. Yep. It's
Where
like
I'm like,
we gotta start slowing down on the
Mhm.
whole ancestry. That's how we are. Because when I did mine, I did it for the background or whatever. I knew that my dad was probably my dad because I look like him.
Yeah. And by the way, how dumb am I last week when we were talking? And I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I am. I just did a DNA test, found siblings, but I don't know where I'm from.
I couldn't even remember what I didn't even think nothing about the family part.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I want to do my back because my husband has so much heritage and lineage, and he knows his mom has like books from whatever. Like I guess families did books.
They have like one of those
We did.
family crest.
Yes, ours did the family food stamp book, but somebody spent it, so we don't have any more of that. But like we don't have anything like that. We don't have a home place and so I was like, oh, I wonder, like maybe I'm, some African prince is actually my uncle or whatever that scam is, and turns out it's not. Literally, all of my people are just like regular ass people, which is fine. But like there wasn't anything jaw dropping.
Well, I have friends that get mad because they're like, "Oh, I did a DNA test after you." And I'm like, "I can't help it." They're like, "I just found a cousin."
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I found a sister and an aunt. The sister, I've said before, I really thought was my cousin. But then the aunt, she was probably the most shocking one because I kind of knew about her because I remember my mom talking about her. But she's like my sister's age. And when I looked her up on Facebook, I was like, she lives in the county. It's really weird because my grandfather is from almost Mississippi, like literally the Mississippi line. But the aunt lives in the county neighboring us. And I'm like, well, that's weird because he's never lived in that county. But it said her bio that she was from where he lived. And I was like, isn't that strange? So I text her and I'm like, hey. So she was like, no, I know who my mom and dad are. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking like, well, I ain't screwing this lady up no more because you ain't gaining nothing by getting in this family. So, okay, good. Well, maybe we're distant cousins, and I left it alone. But then my aunt got drunk and decided to text her and said, no, you're my sister. This is your daddy, blah, blah, blah. And like this woman takes care of her parents.
Oh.
Yeah, they're in their 80s. And she's like, what do you mean that's not my dad? So she calls me while I'm on vacation. Everything happens when I'm on vacation. And she's like, why did your aunt just text me and say that my dad's not my dad? And I'm like, I was like, so actually, you're really my aunt, and I didn't want to tell you that. And she was like,
Oh, she didn't know?
no,
Oh.
had no clue. And she was like, oh my God, like I physically take care of my dad. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. She goes, well, I am almost 6 foot tall, and my dad's like 5'4". My mom's like 5'1". And in the like pictures, I always look different. I'm like, yeah, it's because that's not your dad. And so,
Well, I think my mom didn't know
oh yeah,
because my dad who raised me is he probably says 5'6" or 5'7", but he's probably
Right.
like 5'4".
right,
And I'm 4'11", so
Right.
I think the more I didn't grow that,
right, made sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, she looks a lot like my aunt, and I was like, oh, I knew that you were, but if I was going to leave well enough alone because, honey, if you ain't got to be in this, then you're not going to. So she actually still takes care of her dad. He doesn't
Aw.
know.
That she knows.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. He doesn't know that she knows. I don't even know if he knows that she's not. I think he does. But her mom has passed away since we found out, and her mom was precious. But her mom confessed and told her exactly what happened. I worked at a truck stop, and this guy come in, and we just hit it off and kind of had a little
Girl.
affair.
If my mama was here today, she would still swear. There is no way.
Yep.
It don't matter how much DNA I have.
Yep.
She would still, girl, no,
Yep.
Steve is your daddy.
Yep. But so we have even more interesting about this because I forgot about this. So once again, we're in Orlando because we're members of Universal Studios, and we have 2 guys that are our best friends came with us to Universal, and my sister was flying back with them. We were on a different schedule, so she calls me and she's like, "Guess who?" We're gonna call him Steve. Guess who? What Steve's dad's name is? And I was like, "What?" And she was like, who did Dad accuse our mom of sleeping with?" And I was like, and I said the name, and she goes, "That's his daddy." Okay, we're not, and I know that sounds like, okay, we're from like southern middle Tennessee. That man's from Nashville. Our friend is from Dixon, which is even more west. So not even close at all. And my dad's ex-best friend is his biological dad. And we did not find this out. Okay, we didn't find this out till a year ago. And then I'm like, what if he really is your dad, Jessica? Because y'all actually kind of have like, both of them have really pretty legs, our friend Steve and my sister. And I said, y'all have the same nose? Like, what if it, like, this is crazy. And of course, we don't think so. We're pretty sure. I mean, we're like 99% sure that my dad's her dad. But like, what is the likelihood of our best friend? We've been best friends with him for 15, 18 years and had no idea that his biological dad was our dad's best friend who passed away. Because he said, "Oh, no, you probably wouldn't know my dad because he was in prison because he murdered his brother." And she was like, "Yeah, because his brother's name was XYZ and he murdered him over this." And he was like, "Yeah, how did you know that?" And
Oh, gosh, we should have a story time about how many family members are in jail and prison that we have.
Oh, God, yeah. That we were just talking about the name being felony or federal or something. I said, "No, Mom never did no federal time. She always did state."
Cassie, I was thinking about you. We were going to call it food stamps and federal prison.
But Barbara Jean only did state time, county time. She never did any federal. Although she probably should have with the forgery of a check. She beat it somehow. Probate.
I know. I bet people are so glad food stamps are on a card now.
Yes. However, it was easier to sell when it was like paper.
Oh, I don't know that I believe you because I may have a couple sisters, I'm not going to say who,
Oh, yeah.
that buy those cards all the time.
Oh, yeah. My best friend buys them all the time, like for real. 50 cents on the dollar. That's what Jessica said we should name this podcast is 50 cents on the dollar.
That would
and
be
no
good.
tax.
I mean, they'll come over and
Yeah.
like getting food. They're like, "Okay, well, I have the EBT cards." And I'm like, "Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can put that thing in Instacart now." And
Yes. Oh, my friend got a call the other day while she was sitting there and she was like, "Oh, yeah, 500? Yep. 250. Yep, I'll cash app you." I'm like, "Oh my God, we're cash apping for food stamps." That's crazy, but I mean,
it happens.
Yeah, it does.
But I mean, I guess it's good money because it's not taxed, is it?
Right. No tax. And you can buy anything that's edible. And sometimes you can buy stuff that's like cooked or something, I think. I don't know.
I don't even know.
I don't either. I need some, though. I need some food stamps, the EBT card.
I know.
I had to get them whenever I was a single mom before.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
And I think they were on a card then.
They were for me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were on a card then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I remember my nanny, she always had her food stamps in her wallet, and I remember the $1 was brown.
Oh, yes. Jessica
They were all colored.
Yes, because Jessica had a $20 food stamp one time in her back pocket, and her boyfriend found it, and she said, I literally could have died because he said, what is this food coupon? And she said, I was like, oh, that's nothing, and like took it away. She was like, oh my God.
And that one was a good color. I bet it was purple.
Yeah, or green. One of them was green.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I just remember the brown one or the yellow.
We're going to have a picture of it on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
We're going to have an Instagram at some point.
We are. Jeez. Things
Trent, anything you want to add?
That's such a weird time to ask that.
I know.
Hey, I did. You said something earlier, and it kind of stuck. Just with we get it from our mama's pod.
Ooh.
We get it from our mom. But listen, at one point, I would have been offended if somebody was like, you're just like your mama.
Yeah, right.
I never was like my mama.
Right.
But I was like,
But the older I get, the more I become like her.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my, today I said I'm turning into my mother.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I might have had a patient
surviving
come in that
or
smelled a little
whatever.
bit. And I was like, gosh. And I was like, my mom would have been like, you stink. I
She's
mean,
very blunt.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, do you not know what deodorant is? Oh, yeah, she was. She was.
Oh.
Hey,
I would be sitting there going, oh my God, Mom. And now I do it.
that's
Like,
funny.
oh my God,
I'm gonna
do
write
you
that down.
smell that?
Yeah.
Did you stop recording, Trent?
No, we're still going.
Okay.
But
Writing this down.
I was doing a little research. There's a lot of I get it, but there isn't a we.
We get it from my mama.
Plural.
Her mama made us do it.
Hey,
Yeah.
we got options. But
Yes.
yeah,
Throw
that
mama
one-
from the train.
That's right. That is a good option, though.
I'm
That's a
not
good one.
mad at it.
No, neither.
We get it from our mamas.
That's
We
right.
could do a little juvenile.
We do have to be
remix.
careful with that, though, don't we? Do we have to be careful with because if it's the name of a song?
Well, it's that song's she gets it from her mom.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it'll be we.
Sons of bitches.
So
We're gonna
we
we'll
could-
finagle our way around this shit.
We could even have a dance. We get
Hey.
it from our mama. Hey.
Hey, we could even reach out to Juvenile. He might support y'all.
Oh, he could probably relate to some of this shit.
100%. Back that ass
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And she get it from
Hey,
her mama.
Hey, Barbara Jean loved her some
we
rap.
get it. We get it from her mama.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
at Mom's funeral, we had Tupac and
And
Big.
Dear Mama.
Oh, well, actually, that was my song to her, but she actually liked. She had the one CD. Oh dear God! If I saw it right now, I'd be like, yes, that's it. And she listened to it while she cleaned. I'll have to look it up, but
What does it look like? Is it a
it's the one with Tupac on the front. It's a black and white cover.
All Eyes on Me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Tupac
And
forever.
She just literally listened to from start to finish.
Yeah.
Like she
Dude,
loved
that's a
Tupac,
classic album.
but she also loved
Look
like.
at Kila's face.
Did your mom like
what's
music?
your favorite
Oh.
song on that album, Kila?
No, I don't even know.
I would have to
No,
look
my
up-
mom was like, my mom could sing. Like, she could have been a country music star.
Really?
Oh, she thought she was Lori Morgan. She had that hair. She looked like Lori
Nice.
Morgan. But yeah, she could sing. My whole family is musically talented.
Really?
Besides me.
What the hell? What's it like to be God's favorite?
I don't know. It skipped me and my kids.
Yeah. I don't have that.
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
this is one of his best ever.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
No more pain. Hearts of men. Ambitions as a writer.
I mean, I would know them because
That's
my
my
husband.
favorite.
Ambitions as a writer.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
Shouts to Tupac.
Yep. She loved Tupac.
Man, he's
Yeah, my
Oh,
mom.
because
forever
when
a
he
legend.
passed away, I can tell you where I was at. Look, I cannot tell you my kid's date of birth. I
You
don't
can
even.
tell. You can tell me where. You remember when you found out?
Yes.
Where?
I was in the one time that I went to my dad's house for the weekend, and he didn't take me home on a Sunday because you may need to fact check this because I might be wrong. But we were in Dad's Jeep heading back home early, like a Monday morning or something,
Uh-huh.
and it come across the radio, and I was like devastated.
Oh,
We were
man.
at a gas station, and I can still smell smells are weird for me, but like. I can still smell the tire that's in the back of Dad's Jeep, like the grease, when I heard about Tupac.
Man.
Now, he may have passed before that, and that might have been the first time that
Sure.
But when I
That's
got home,
amazing.
yes, and I don't remember any. Like I literally couldn't tell you nothing about nothing. Like I don't even know my middle name, but I can tell you where I was at when Tupac died because
I
I, knew.
remember the first time I heard him.
Oh,
I
really?
remember the first time I heard Changes.
Oh
that-
yeah, I
Like,
love that.
I was
one.
in a van going to a basketball camp,
See,
and I was like in second grade.
That's crazy.
I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's
I was
crazy.
like, I remember her being like, it's time to change the way we eat. It's
That's
time
right.
to change the way we live.
That's right.
It's time to change the way we treat each other. I'm like, yeah. I was like 8 years old. Like, he's
Yes, I'm
absolutely
changing
right.
the world. Thank you, Tupac.
No, I'll never forget it though. We were all like,
But look,
singing it, and
when we got
like these van full of white kids going to basketball camp, and we're like, man, this guy's awesome.
Yes.
And that was even
What
after
is
he
the song
passed.
that's like? What is the song where he's like, "Fuck you and your mama"?
Hit him up.
Oh my God, that literally was Barbara Jean. She would literally be like, "Fuck you and your mama" to like, and I'm like, "Mama,"
You can't be
and I'm
like
not.
that.
I'm not kidding. She
That's
literally.
real.
September
That's why I
13th,
effed you.
1996.
Okay.
Did he die the same day he got shot?
No.
I was going to say, because that was a Friday.
Okay.
The day he died was it was what'd you say? February something?
September.
That was September 13th.
He was born in anyway. Yeah. Tupac forever.
Because if
Tupac
he died
Resurrection.
like that weekend, that would be why I heard about it on that Monday.
Yeah.
Because it was the
That
one time
sounds right.
my dad always took me home on Sunday nights, but for some
How old are you?
39.
Okay, you're a couple years older
Yeah.
than me. But yeah, okay. That
Like I
adds
have no
up.
idea why my dad took me home on a Monday, but I remember that because when I got home and I was like, because I knew my mom was going to be like upset about it because she's a big
Yeah.
Tupac fan. My nanny said that 2-pack shaker died, and I was like, yeah, that's who it was. Because
I'm distressed.
if you were raised anything like us, we all lived in one house. There was like 72 of us in a 2-bedroom house, and we was just. I mean, I slept with my grandma. My daughter was like complaining about. Her room was too small. I said, bitch, I shared a bed with my grandmother, not even just the room, the bed. Then when I did get my own bed in my grandmother's room, I had to go to bed when she went to bed because you weren't fixing to open that door up and wake her up.
Oh no. You don't want that.
And so I'm
smoke.
like, don't tell me that your bedroom's small. I'm sorry that you have matching furniture. I literally slept with my grandmother.
That's
She was like,
love.
okay, 9. It's 15 after 9. We have to go to bed. I'm like, great, 16 years old. Going to bed.
Not very sleepy.
Or
yet.
I had to sleep on like the back porch and it was closed in, but like literally.
Man.
So don't tell me about your, crappy life. Oh my God.
It's so
You have a
hard.
small bedroom. I slept with my grandma. Sometimes we were 3 deep in that bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Three
So my
across the
nanny made me
leg.
sleep with her too.
yeah.
But I had to sleep on the other side because my papa was there and you couldn't sleep by papa. So
Oh, yeah.
I had to sleep on the other
Yeah.
side.
I mean, sometimes there would be like, me, my grandmother, my mom, or me, my grandmother, my aunt. Like, and then we'd have 2 cousins on the couch, and then my uncle would be in the one bedroom, like so many people everywhere. And I mean, that's just how we lived. And
3 by the head and 3 by the leg.
yes, we looked like the
Don't tell
people
my
off
girl
of,
I used to pee in the bed. Yeah.
we looked like the,
That's a Kanye
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the grandparents, till they sleep. That was us. And poor Nanny had to sleep with all of her medicine in her bra because her trifling ass kids would steal it.
Dang.
Yeah, and her
That's
money.
the thing. Everybody had their money in their bras
Yes.
back in the day.
I mean, she
Dixie
had, like,
keeps
pill
everything in
bottles.
her bra.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh,
If you ever
poor
want something
Nanny.
from her, you just go to her bra.
When she rolled over at night, it was like all the pills rolling. Poor Nanny. Yes, I only been grounded one time my whole entire life, and it was torture because I shared a bedroom with my grandmother, which meant we had no TV, no radio, nothing in there. And she went to bed. She watched Fox News at 9 o'clock, and she only watched to the weather, which was like 9:18. I can tell you exactly what time
Wow.
it comes on. And after that went off, she went to bed. And so I would be stuck in my room. I was stuck in there for 5 days, and it was so boring. And then at 9:18, here comes Nanny, and that meant you could just look out at the street lights because I think that's why I never got in trouble, like went to prison, because it was basically prison because I had to sleep with my grandmother. And yeah, so yeah, that was my childhood. I only got grounded one time.
Oh gosh, I
That's
stayed
really
with my
good.
nanny all the time. But my mom would like come over or like, Mama, can I drop Kila off for 30 minutes? My nanny would be like, no. Because she knew she'd be gone for weeks at a time. She'd never come back.
Yeah, our mom didn't really drop us off much, but Mom never really worked. So like school field trips and stuff, we'll have to call Mom, and she'd bitch. I mean, she'd be like, hell no, I ain't got the money. But of course, she'd always come through and have the money. But you got a hell of a cussing beforehand. Why we got cussings, I'm not sure. But even when Mom would go to jail, I would live with the nanny. Like when I turned 12, my sister moved out. So it was just me and Mom, and my brother was older too. So one time when Mom went to jail, I lived by myself in the trailer park. because we were just going to keep it hush hush. And so, because Mom was on like Section 8, so we were going to keep the Section 8 so Mom didn't have to like reapply and all that. Well, somebody in the trailer park got wind that I was living down there by myself and I was like 14. And they called DCS, and DCS was like, yeah, she can't live down there. So I had to go. I couch surfed for a couple months during the summer, and then the end of it, I went to live with my nanny, but she was really good to me then because both my cousins lived there. They were my age, and everybody went to like town, to the square. That's where everybody hung out, and we would walk to town, and she'd holler out the door, Ashley, Jade, get your ass back in here, and I'd be like, oh my God, what did I do? Because like I was always a good kid, and she'd hand me like $10, and she'd say, don't tell the boys I gave to you, because they had parents that were supporting them, but I didn't, and she'd say, they would have money, but I wouldn't, which they would pay for me too, but I'd be like, all right, and so then I'd get outside, and they'd be like, what'd you do? And I'm like, left her robe on the floor, like trying to make up an excuse. I'm like, hell, I don't know. I have to come up with something because now they think I'm in trouble. But she was really good to me whenever.
My family was I've just been sitting here thinking, God, my family, we might have been, can I say crazy from the beginning?
Hell yeah.
Like my nanny, because we were like part Assembly of God, Pentecostal. Her brother was a preacher, so we would be in church. Mm-hmm. But she would pinch me and step on my toes if I didn't do something. But then, my papa would get home at night. When he got home from work, she would start a fight with him every night. Oh. Cuss him like a dog. I do that to my husband sometimes, too.
That's toxic, Kila. I need to work on it. Call me later and we'll work through it.
I know, I need some therapy. Yeah, but I'm like, Nanny, she's so mean. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our nanny wasn't... Now, I've seen her beat the shit out of grown-ass men with a rake one time. We had this drunk that come up, and I won't say his name because God willing, he's still alive, and he's still kind of precious. But he'd come up, and he'd be drunk. She'd say, take your drunk ass home, and he wouldn't. And she'd come out with a rake and wear his ass out and beat him halfway. And then here'd come another drunk, and she'd say, don't come up here with that smart-ass mouth. And they'd pop off with something, and here she'd fire their head up. And we'd just be sitting there watching like, oh, Nanny's outside fist fighting the drunks, but they'd be back the next day like, what's up?
Yeah.
We weren't religious though, but Mama always said, we Baptist. We didn't even know what the hell Baptist was till we was grown. Jessica said, I want to be a Catholic. I said, you don't just get to be Catholic, Jessica.
Yeah, like they were always singing in church, and everybody come over and they play the piano and sing all kinds of gospel music.
Nice.
I don't know. Crazy.
Well, at least
But then on my DNA test, my cousin did one too, and he's supposed to be my first cousin, and it came back. I don't even know if my mom and her sister are really have the same dad either. I know. I'm like, Nanny might have been a little...
Ours was floozy.
Floating heifer too.
Our grandmother...
Because my papa really wasn't my papa, like it was just one of the men that she made.
I gotcha.
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Our grandmother owned a bar up here in Nashville. That's where my mom and dad are both from Nashville, and... we moved south later, but...
Oh, no. My nanny, you couldn't... she'd sit there and smoke cigarettes and drink coffee and tell you how bad you were for listening to that kind of music.
Yeah.
I remember my mom being a stripper, and she worked at this place called the Playlate Club. Oh. And I was with my nanny in the car. And my mom was in there, too, and we rode by it because it had a bunny on the... had the Playboy bunny on it. I was like, oh, Nanny, that's where Mama. And my mom attacked me and put her hand on my mouth. Oh. Was like, you better shut up. And then she made me mad and I snitched on her.
Oh, so your grandmother didn't know?
No.
Oh.
No, she didn't know. I'm sure she did know.
Yeah.
She had to know, but
yeah.
Yeah. I think my mom was like the black sheep. My aunt told me not too long ago that my mom got arrested one time and told them her name was Brenda, which was my aunt who was married.
Yeah.
And they put it in the paper.
Nice.
And my uncle got mad, and they had I don't know how they got it. You can't get it taken out.
Right. That's exactly how, the Just Busted papers or the mugshot papers. That's how we found that out. My sister was in line at the convenience store and looked down, and my mom was on the front page of the damn Just Busted. And it was when she was older, and she had her hair pulled back in like a bun and her little glasses on. I'm like, whose damn mama is on the front page of the damn mugshot? So actually, I've asked some of the officers at our local jail to get me all of her mugshots because that would be freaking awesome, but they haven't done that yet. I need to get on that though.
I know. I used to work for a guy who we had a restaurant up here, and he wanted to open a bar called Ugly Mugs and have mugshots of everybody.
Yeah, that would be
awesome.
Yeah, that would be good. We need to get Mom so we could do age progression so we could see how.
I know. I love all of Cassie's mugshots.
But she won't let you put on public,
Well, hers aren't mug shots. Hers are
like
her
intake
prison
photos.
pictures.
Okay.
No, because they had, you have a photography class in prison.
That is weird.
I know.
Where they have like the mural on the background and
Yeah.
they're squatted down.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I don't even know.
That is
Then they're doing that booty shot where they're like
Right.
turned around with their butt sticking out.
right?
I'm like, you trying to be a hoe in prison with a bunch of other women?
Well,
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
her and Nikki had a thing.
well, they are soulmates. So,
They are soulmates.
Yeah.
Nikki's coming in a couple weeks.
oh, cool.
Trent, you should make a trip to Chattanooga because that would be. I'm going to record everything that they do. I told Cassie her boyfriend's going to get mad at week.
Okay.
I
Jealous.
bet he does.
We can
Yeah,
document.
You can meet
It'll be-
Nikki. Nikki's
do
cute
it.
too. Her and her boyfriend are coming.
I feel like we haven't had like a theme today or whatever it's called. What is it called? Like a
Damn.
yeah.
Stay on task. What we're
Right.
supposed to talk about.
Well, we
I
don't
mean,
really
a
have anything. I think we're
title-
just.
title.
Is it okay
description.
that we're just like bullshitting?
No, this is how it's got to start.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So we'll just like. Do you think we'll just like pick stuff out? Pick,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
we're narrowing in on
Yeah.
a few key elements.
Yeah.
And then once we get that, we'll be able to really script it out. and
Yeah.
It'll
Hey,
be
I don't know if it matters, but my earphone keeps going out on one side and then it comes on the other. Is yours doing that? I got a faulty earphone,
But I can hear you good, so you're not
a
breaking. Up.
faulty headphone. It's not an earphone.
I think it's
I call them
user
earphones
error.
too.
Oh, well,
Yes,
thank God, because
yes.
I'm like, well, somebody could have corrected me.
No, I call them earphones too.
Translate
I'm
me
pretty
just come over
sure
here.
it's user error.
It's not me.
We get it
I
from
didn't
our
try to-
mamas.
Yeah, I get it from my mama. God, my mama, bless her. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
I do have a question for y'all.
Yes.
We've kind of brought it off mic a couple of times. Like, what's the big picture goal with the whole thing here? Because the way I see it,
Are we recording?
yeah,
Yeah.
we've been
But
going.
what if we can edit out?
Is this
what
an edit?
I mean, no, I mean,
If it's a good enough
conversation.
What do you
we
mean?
might-
Okay, so the big goal is that next year we want to be on the CMA Awards.
No, or you're saying
interviewing-
like
A's?
We want to just interview the
That would
people as they
involve
go
music.
by.
Oh no,
what was that?
Well,
I don't know.
Was it me?
that wasn't me.
I moved this.
Oh, careful.
It's
Yeah, we're good.
because we
I'm not
want
sure
to
why.
interview as like the people that they walk up and you can just on the red carpet.
Okay.
But I'm not wearing a dress.
Well,
Okay.
here's the thing. People really your goal needs to be that those people want to meet us.
Yeah.
Screw us interviewing them.
Y'all are the
We are the talent.
Y'all
Yeah,
are the
exactly.
celebrities.
So the goal, what my goal would be for this is to hear people's stories. I
Yep.
love to hear people's stories. Like
Yep.
I don't meet a stranger anywhere I go. I'm talking to somebody, and you can ask any friend or my sister. My sister cannot stand that about me. She's like, "Oh my God,
I'm the same
Ashley's
way.
done." And so I talk to everybody because I love to hear people's
Mm-hmm.
stories. So I would love to hear listeners' stories, whether it be they were raised similar to us, or even like trauma that we've been through, or
Sure.
like they can relate to us, or something we've said, triggered a memory, or even a damn trigger like. Well, sorry, we'll work through that together or whatever. They call me the hood therapist, so I do like
That's
to, yeah.
awesome.
I get that
I
a lot.
just thought of that. I'm like, trailer park therapy.
Yeah, because they
You
literally
know?
do call me the hood therapist.
The hood therapist.
So I do love to like talk to people and like psychoanalyze people, even though I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but
Hey,
whatever. When you're a hairdresser, you're like a therapist anyway.
that is facts.
Yeah,
What
and-
is it? Bartenders and hairdressers
Yeah.
are on the same level?
Hey, but do you find out most of the time like what you say and then they go to a therapist is what the therapist told them? And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, I've done a lot of self-healing work
Yeah,
myself.
clearly.
So self-help books. I've done some therapy, not a whole lot of therapy, but some therapy. My best friend has a degree in psychology, so she's very helpful, even if I don't agree with her and I say like, I don't think that's right. But I mean, literally,
The
you're
expert.
stupid
Yes.
and you don't even know what you're talking
Exactly. You
about.
may have a degree in it, but I have the street smart. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
But like
that's real, though.
I do listen to a lot of podcasts that are about
Mhm.
therapy, and like I said, I've read books.
You've done the work. You
yes,
can tell.
I do. I do a lot of work.
You
So
clearly, both of y'all have been through a lot.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I was at dinner with Kila and Brian. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I told her last night, I'm like, I got like this guilt that I feel.
No,
to a
don't
certain,
ever feel guilty.
Please
I know.
say that. Say
Because
why.
listen, and I bet you feel the same way. Had we not gone through that, we wouldn't be who we are.
Hell
Yeah,
no.
I know.
And we have to have normal, I don't want to say normal, but like regular people. We have to have that, or the whole world would be so jacked up that, like, my husband's normalish. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
don't have a whole lot of
Well,
trauma.
my husband was normalish too.
Well, my husband has trauma from like,
Brian is normal. Brian's
He is.
done it though.
Yeah.
And he's survived. He's a survivor, like straight up and down. Like you gotta. Yeah,
no, we need, like, we could not do this podcast without you. We have to have people like you
that
because
means a lot. But yeah,
But you
there's
also grow. Like I attract the same kind of people.
Oh, hell
like
yeah.
people
Crazy
that I'm
attracts
friends
crazy.
with, and then
Like
I talk to
attracts
them,
like.
Yeah.
Yes.
and I'm like, oh my god,
Law of
that
attraction.
happened to you.
yeah.
You know, and I'm like, that's crazy.
But also, people are fascinated by me.
Mhm.
So sometimes I almost feel like a spectacle, which
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not self-conscious about it, but like I used to be. But now that I'm older and I've done like some work, I'm like good with it. But used to, I would, they would just be like, yeah, little
People
Tommy
think you're-
fell today. And I'm like, oh yeah, because I got ran over one time by a car. And they're like,
ran
what the
over.
hell? This is normal.
Just I got.
I was like, yeah, I couldn't walk for like 8 weeks. It's fine though. I'm fine now. Look, I can walk.
Wow, look at me now.
And they're just like looking at each other like, what the hell just
What
happened?
just happened?
Because
And I was
people
like-
kind of think you're kidding and joking
Yeah.
about it a lot, and I'm like,
And you come
no.
off as crazy, but like people are interested in, like
Yeah.
they're fascinated. For instance, we went to my husband's high school reunion, right? So I was going to try to pretend like to be the most normal person. I was like, I'm not going to talk. I will. But of course, it's not how that worked out. Okay, let me tell y'all. So we go to this, it's a smallish town class reunion. I'm 6 years younger than my husband. And of course, I look a lot younger. No, I was kidding. But when I walked in, people were like, oh, Hagen got him a young one, which I'm only 6 years younger. But so he's like, I go to the bar because I'm like super nervous and I'm anxious and I don't know. So I'm like, just give me a Long Island iced tea. It's the only name I know. Long Island iced tea. I'm like, give me.
It's got the most liquor. It's got
they
7 different liquors in it.
She gives me a jug. Not know. Everybody in this place had a red Solo cup except for me, and I was carrying around like a 36 ounce
You got the
jug.
Stanley.
So of course everybody's looking at my husband like, oh, so we know why his wife, because she's an alcohol. I'm like, I don't even drink. Literally, this has got 4
I'm just
bottles of liquor.
nervous.
Yes. So I'm
I
like,
don't know what I'm doing.
I'm looking at my husband. I'm like, my arm is literally tired from holding all this liquor. So at the time I smoked cigarettes, I said, I'm just going to go outside. So like, you just do you, and I'm just going to go smoke like all the cigarettes and drink this 98 ounce Long Island iced tea by myself. And I'm out there smoking, and a couple of smokers come out. Well, by the time 20 minutes goes by, my husband comes out. He's like, well, everyone left and I didn't know where they were coming. And he was like, they're all standing around you. And I'm just like bullshitting everybody, and I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yes, literally. People were like, what's everybody doing outside? And I was like, well, they were fascinated by me because one girl said, so you were married to Hagen. Didn't his dad own a bank? And I was like, he did? He owned a bank? Bitch, I didn't know.
Where's the money? Cut a check.
And he was like, no, he worked at a bank. But Hagen was like, oh my God. But I told him, I was like, people are fascinated because I'm just like, I'm just open and real. And it was freaking hilarious. But I was like, thank you, bartender, for giving me the 92 ounces of alcohol.
Hey, liquid courage is a
Yeah.
real thing.
But everybody was like, oh, so she's an alcoholic. And I'm like, no, I don't even drink. I didn't even know what to ask when I went up to the bar. I was just like, Long Island iced? Isn't that something? Now I know what that is.
Lit.
Yeah. And I
Latte
did.
tea.
I did.
Long Island.
So, yeah,
real.
I think they're fascinated because I'm just like open and
yeah, because you don't care.
right.
People,
And I'm like,
that's a gift for
Yeah.
sure.
and when I met
People do
Kila, and she was
appreciate
like,
that.
yeah, my mom took pills and we had to, she borrowed and I was like,
They
oh,
bartered.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
They'll barter.
when you get your pills, you owe
trailer
this-
park barter system.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew exactly
Yeah.
when whoever was getting their pills, how many they got, how many they owed them. And I'm not kidding you. When I was young and we would get food stamps like by the books or whatever, they would wait at the trailer park thing. Like if you owed somebody and you wasn't going to try to pay up, then you wasn't going to check your mail when the mail got there because, pay up or you about to get your ass whooped right here in front of the mailman.
Wow.
Yeah. So they would be standing there like back then you got like your food stamps and your welfare, AFDC or whatever at the same day, like the first of the month. They don't do
Yeah.
that anymore. But yeah, if
First
you was
and 15th,
owed,
right? Wasn't that?
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I only remember the first because I remember like being in school and I'd be like, what's today's date? And they'd be like, March 1st. I'm like, yes, we're freaking eating tonight. Hell yeah. And it ain't going to be like freaking green beans. It's going to be like fruit roll-ups, bitch.
Oh God, I'm going to ask you this too, because if I had $1 for every time you heard, my check didn't come today.
Yes. Our mailman had to end up saying, if y'all motherfuckers don't stop chasing me down before I get to y'all stop, I'm not giving y'all's mail. Because everybody would knew his route. And so they would go like chase him down and be like, hey, and he would have to dig through the mail. So he finally was like, no, I'm cutting it off. Like, I'm setting boundaries with the trailer park.
Yes. I mean, I can only imagine.
But I was like, why didn't you just make them be their first stop? Like, why didn't you just go ahead and, even if it had to make you backtrack, just go, because you know they're going to be like, following you through the damn neighborhood.
That's so sad.
But it was.
That's all.
My check.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, and that's.
Yeah. But you have to think of that was just
systematic.
It's
like, that's
super.
so calculated.
Yeah.
And that's such a, like, that's something that could be better.
Yeah.
Like I have
that's
family
that'd
be like,
frustrates
well,
me.
my lights are turned off, but I will get my check tomorrow so I can go pay the bill.
Right. Yeah.
Who lives without lights?
Right.
I mean,
us, that's normal.
yeah.
I mean, it, totally normal for.
I mean, like our lights got cut off a bunch, but.
I mean, I might.
But I mean, they got turned back on the same day where my cousins and stuff.
Not us. We weren't that lucky. When Mom got one of those like HUD homes, like where they basically our mortgage was like $200 a month, but they kind of put you like out in the middle of nowhere, kind of, and she didn't have transportation, so like she couldn't get to work because she didn't have transportation. And when our lights would get cut off there, it was like. It was dark as shit because there's nothing around. And so we hated that. So we'd have to go live with like Nanny until our lights got cut back on. But sometimes the system keeps people from wanting to do better because they don't have to.
It's almost like it's good for the wrong people.
Yes. Because if you're trying, you don't qualify for shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, hell, let me not do anything and I qualify for everything. Because I remember being a single mom like, this is bullshit. I can't get a government apartment because I, quote unquote, make too much. Yet I'm barely scraping by and I can't it's totally broken for the wrong people.
Yes.
But if I would have quit my job and laid on my ass, I could have got everything, which makes zero sense to me. And I understand why people work the system because if you can make more off of the government than you could a regular job, why would you not do that?
Right.
They make it too easy for the wrong people.
Yes.
But, because I've seen people on things that I'm not going to go to work. I get free housing, food, I get checks.
Yeah, getting employed. Like, getting employed will take your unemployment away.
Because all you got to do is go job hunting, quote unquote, put in a few applications a month, and that's all you got to do. Like, I get that there's too many people, but there needs to be a better system.
Yes.
Because
there should be encouragement if you work.
Yes.
Or try to have a job.
I do.
It should be encouraged instead of.
And like, hey, we will help you with daycare because you're working.
Right.
But not because you're out looking for a job, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Like, no. That there needs to be some more stipulations on that because it's not fair. Because I was single mom. And had two little kids. I was living with my sister, and she raised her kids in a single wide. But it was fancy as shit. If you didn't know it was a single wide bed, she was home interior's dream. Okay, but
better homes and gardens.
Yes, but she had like a patio and shit. But anyways, and like a real roof and stuff. But she kept her house. But I lived there with her, and I was like, I'm gonna go get a government apartment. So I went to the place, and she was like, fill out the application. I did. So I filled out the application, but I had my wallet had gotten stolen in between the time, so I didn't have my Social Security cards, but I had them on like my W-2, not my W-2 because I'm self-employed, so not even a 1099, Schedule C or whatever. Yeah. So I get there to the appointment, and she's like, hey, let me see the Social Security cards. I said, oh, I don't have any because I lost my thing. She goes, well, you have to have those. So I said, okay, well, this is all I got. So she said, go get the Social Security card. So I leave from there, drive an hour to the Social Security place, get the printout that says, this is our Social Security numbers. I come back to the place for my appointment to get the apartment. She goes, where's your W-2? I said, oh, I don't get a W-2 because I'm self-employed. She was like, well, where's your 1099? I said, I don't get a 1099 because I'm self-employed. I said, I have my bank records. She goes, no, you have to have proof of income. I need a check stub. I said, but I don't get a check stub. She was like, then you can't have an apartment. I'm like, wait. I said, so wait, I could have come in here and told you that I didn't work because there's no proof of me working and you would have gave me an apartment. She said, absolutely, that's what I'm telling you.
That's insane.
And I said, so I could fill out this application tomorrow and come in and tell you like, nope, don't work because there's no proof that I work because I don't get a check stub. And she said, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so we're homeless. Me and my kids don't have a home. Like I'm living with my sister and I'm taking over her daughter's bedroom with me and both my kids. And you're telling me, and she's like, that's absolutely what I'm telling you. And I'm like, this makes no sense to me. I'm willing to pay rent. Yeah. I was like, I will pay rent. I do not want anything for free because I will never raise my kids the way I was raised. But you're telling me, and she was like, yeah, if you'd have came in here and said you didn't work.
But at the same time, there's people, like I have a lot of my family members, I mean, that's what they grew up in, and they learned
Oh,
to, that's what
absolutely.
they're
Work
taught,
the
is how to
system.
work the system.
Yes.
So they don't have to work.
Barbara Jean was so disappointed in us that we didn't work the system whenever we got older. She was literally like, why the hell would you go to work? I mean, literally,
Yeah.
why would you do that when you could get all of this stuff? And I'm like, Mom, that's not the goal. I don't want to be limited on what I can do. And she's like, this makes no sense. Like, why would you not do that? I'm like, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell them that I don't work and then them find out and then I'm going to freaking federal prison for lying, because she's like, well, technically you don't have to tell that you work because you make a lot of cash. And, you could say that what you deposit into your account, you sold something. And I'm like, no, because I don't want to go to federal prison and she's like, she was so disappointed that we did not work the system.
Yeah. Or like working in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had servers who had kids and they had no idea that you could do any of that, like filing your taxes and the earned income credit and, or there was people that could help get an apartment.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh my God, here, let me help you.
Yes, girl. One time our mom was, I don't know if I was born or not, but I know that my brother and sister were, and my dad had kicked her out or whatever. And she called the damn governor and said, I'm sleeping on the damn state capitol damn steps. And I want you to know they called her back at like 4:30 that evening and said, go to here. We've got you an apartment. Because she didn't, there was no shame. Like she was like, no, you're going to help me. Now I have never done that, but like she would go above and beyond. Like I will call the damn president. Me and my babies is not going to be sleeping on the streets tonight. But she knew how to work that system.
Oh, listen, Cassie, I love you. And I'm not talking bad about you. But Cassie, like that's what she does now. She helps everybody coming out of prison and anybody that she knows. I mean, she's like, no, let's do this and get you signed up for this. And I mean, she is. I call her Captain Save-A-Ho, but
I mean,
she is.
Especially if you don't know. You know what I mean? If you're not raised like that, you don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
But like our mom, she had the damn phone, the free phone, what they call the government phone. And their government girl, she had 6 or 7 government phones that people would just give her, and she'd be calling me from random numbers, and she'd leave me a voicemail. Sharpie, it's your mom. I'm like, you don't have to say that, Mom. I know who you are. But she'd say, this is so and so's government phone. They gave it to me, so I got 60 minutes on it. I'm like, dear God. She just had all these burner phones where people were like, I don't really need that. So Mom and all her government phones. But yeah, she knew how to work it.
Yeah.
Every bit of it. And she got the max that she could get of everything. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. But because while it will sustain you, it puts a limit on you, and I don't want that limit. And I don't want something held over my head. Like, well, if they find out, like, no. I'd rather just be broke and poor and raise my kids the right way than to have something looming over me all the time. But
but like my kids don't know anything about any of that stuff.
Mine don't either.
Like it's insane to me. Like Emily.
Mine don't either.
Yeah.
No clue.
They never.
I mean, even child support, they're like, so what is that? But Jaden goes, so my dad pays you? I'm like, yes, because he's like, wait, so my dad pays you? I'm like, okay, well, it's not your dad paying me. I pay for you to live here, and he pays his part, because Jaden was like totally offended. Like, calm down. He's not paying me. Actually, I would pay him if he would take you. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, my kids have no clue about any of that. However, I did shelter them from like the drugs and stuff. But one time, we were in the car, and now we got the hands free, so everything goes through the speakers. And my cousin called, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, our cousin was on meth or something. He's done busted my windshield out." Of course, my kids are in the back seat, like I had took them to a real life horror movie, and I'm like, she's like crying, and I'm like, I'll explain when they get. So we get off the phone. I'm like, okay, so y'all know how I always tell y'all like that we are not going to do drugs, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, I tell you about drugs. Okay, well, this is what drugs does, and they're like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. So he busted her window out, and flattened her tires on a dirt road. They were just like mortified, but I was like, this is what drugs does. And so I didn't shelter them, but I didn't like expose them to it if I didn't have to. But when they did find out,
Emily and my mom, like she kind of went through it with me. So she's seen her at her worst, and then seen her at her best. But Cole, I mean, if you ask him, what happened to your Nana? He's like, she had a hernia. And I'm like, no,
right.
She didn't die from a hernia.
Right,
I mean.
right. Aniston said, I didn't even know that. She goes, now that I know what pot smells like, now I know what that smell was at Nana's all the time. I'm like, yeah, they didn't go in there for prayer meeting, Aniston. They weren't going into the bedroom for prayer meeting. I mean, they was probably praying because their eyes were closed, but it was not. She goes, now I know what that smell is. I was like, yeah.
I know, it's funny.
Because we were sitting around the table at Thanksgiving 2 years ago, and Jessica goes, yeah, remember when Mom had my kids working at the funeral home? And I'm like, no, what? Mom pimped your kids out to the funeral home? And she was like, yeah. She sent them up there and they could do like little chores and they got paid. I'm like, what? Barbara Jean never worked but had her grandkids at the damn funeral home sweeping and vacuuming for money. I said, and she probably took like 50% of their earnings because she was like, Debo. She was like, no, I'm y'all's.
I got you that job.
Exactly. So you owe me 50% of it. Like, what the hell? That's hilarious though. Her and her little, she had her little minions up there vacuuming the funeral home for money.
Emily told me that she used to go. She's like, Mama, which I knew her hairstylist was a little pill.
We're all a little. Well, I mean, we're
she
all
was
crazy,
like her
though.
when she swapped pills with her hairstylist.
Oh yeah.
Straight to pills.
We
get
had
her
one
hair
of those.
done.
Several.
And Emily's like, yeah, we used to go to Kelly's house all the time. And I was like, my mom took you over there. Like, I will beat her.
Yes.
But my mom did all kinds of shady shit. Like, I remember one time at Denny's here in Murfreesboro, she was trying to do a damn drug deal.
Oh, yeah.
With me sitting there. And I'm like, I will
Yes.
burn this place down. Thinking I'm dumb, trying to give something under the table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was going to have to whoop a server in Denny's.
Oh, I met a friend today. I'm like, who's your friend? Her name's Angel. I'm like, I don't know, not near Angel. Who the hell is Angel? And she's like, so-and-so's, her mama's name was this. I'm like, who the hell is that, Mom? And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. The kids played it. I'm like, no, you do not take my kids to, but she's like, oh, so-and-so got their pills that day. So
one time, my mom was staying with me and it's back when you had caller ID.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the phone. And I was talking to my cousin and somebody beeped in, so I answered it. And of course, I sounded like my mom because, I don't know. But
because you get it from your mama.
He was like, hey, is she there yet? Or is she gone yet? And I was like, no, not yet. And I was like, she's getting ready to leave. Because my mom was like, hey, I'll babysit for the kids tonight. I should have known, that was something was going on.
Right.
But I was like, no, not yet. And he was like, well, I'm here, I'm just going to keep riding around. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, what do you got? And then, of course, he was like, I don't know how to talk drugs.
Right, exactly. He was like, why are you asking, bitch? You called me.
And I was like, you better get your ass away from my apartment. I will have every narcotics unit after you. I got your phone number. I got your name.
And I sing like a canary.
And then I just got ready and went out. I told my cousin, I was like, Mama's drug dealer just called.
And she thought he was coming. And
Yep. I done scared the shit out of him.
Jessica did that one time.
Oh, I went to City Limits, girl. I done went out, country danced all night, come back, and my mama
was madder than hell.
He done took my $500.
Madder than a
wedding. Your dumb ass for giving him $500.
That's right. Oh, hell, Barbara Jean ain't never had no $500 unless it was income tax time, and she said she cleaned houses or something.
Oh, girl, she had us at Hickory Hollow the next day. He worked at some jewelry store.
Oh, she got her money back?
No, she was trying to, but I was like, I don't care if you get it back or not. I mean, you're a dumbass that gave him money.
That's right.
Trying to do a drug deal with my kids here. That's what you get.
I was just talking about how random people that you wouldn't think were drug addicts or do drugs, but Mom would meet.
Oh, look, I'm slouching again.
Well, Mom would meet, like one time she was in a waiting room at the doctor's office and met a real estate agent, and come to find out somehow this woman's addicted to painkillers, and that become Mom was her dealer, and so she would come to Mom would go to whoever got their pills, and I'm like, and I go to school with this woman's kids, and like they have no clue that like their mom was just in my living room in my government apartment, like giving my mama clothes and shit because my mama's getting on pills, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got so many stories like that where I went to like their kids were big basketball stars, and I'm like, but your mama takes pills. Because Mama told us everything.
Yeah.
Was your mom very,
Yeah. Like one time I got run over. Like literally had a head-on collision, broke both arms, both knees, both ankles. So I was in the hospital for like 12 days. And then, of course, they sent me home with Oxycontin. And I was scared to death of Oxycontin because I thought that's back when it was the crazy drug. So I would only take half one. But I mean, I don't know how many Lortab they sent me home with. But my God, I called the doctor like 3 days, and I'm like, I need a refill. And he's like, well, you've already called 2 in this week. And I'm like, what?
Yes.
I've not called you at all.
Yes, Barbara Jean.
Yeah. And so it was around Easter. My friend brought me an Easter basket, and I had to take my Lortab and Oxycontin and put them in an Easter egg. And then I had them buy me a bottle of Midol, and I put the Midol in the Lortab bottle. I don't know how many Midol my mama took.
She wasn't cramping no more.
She wasn't. But that was the only way I could have my own pain pills. And I'm like, I can't even walk. I mean, I ain't got no legs, ain't got no arms.
Yep.
Are you over here taking my medicine?
Yes. Well, we would get cough medicine, and cough medicine what? Question mark. I never tasted no damn cough medicine. They're like, oh, that cough medicine's nasty. I'm like, I never got to taste it. So Mama drunk it before we got home, or whatever. And still to this day, I'm 39 years old and I still have to tell my doctor I am not allergic to codeine. She's like, yeah, it says it in your chart. I'm like, my mom was a drug addict. This is so she could get codone. No, I'm not allergic to codeine.
I know. And I can't take pain pills. I throw up.
Yeah, I don't like them either. I went to the pharmacy, literally, I was 36, and he was like, so you're allergic to codeine? I was like, no, if y'all don't take that on my damn chart. My mom was blacklisted from this place. So she had us getting whatever we could get. Literally taking us over there. She's like, ooh, that cough sounds a little deep. I bet they'll give you the good stuff.
Well, listen, I worked for a detective here in Murfreesboro for years, and he would be like, Kila, we got to talk. They're looking at
Oh, shit.
the narcotics unit's looking at your mom, and I'll be like,
damn.
God.
Barbara Jean.
I'm like, just tell me when I shouldn't be at the house.
Exactly.
I
Mom
don't want to
never,
be there when she gets to
Mom
this.
never had like great amounts of it because she never had money, but like her thing would have been like casual exchange or because she never really had large amounts except for when she sold. So I've never seen the white powdery stuff except for one time and come to find out Mom was selling it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and here I am, like when you're giving me money to go get cheeseburgers, I'm thinking like, oh God, this must be our last time. I didn't know you was the damn crack dealer over here. Like I'm over here like feeling
Are
bad.
you
Like,
talking about Coke?
yeah.
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 My mom went through that. Yeah, we used to have it taped up under our kitchen.
Mom didn't like it, so I guess that's why she could sell it. But
Oh, I think my mom liked it a lot.
well, Mom probably liked it, but she knew that like it didn't last long enough for her, I think.
I remember one time, Mama, we moved to California because we were running from a drug dealer.
Oh, damn. So
Yeah.
you're like Mom, the show Mom. Have you ever watched that?
No.
Kila, Go Home Tonight. That's the best show ever.
Really?
Yes. She was a drug. That's what her mom did.
Yeah. Like my mama did that. I'm telling you, all my friends, like not all my friends, but some of them, I quit being friends with a lot of people because, they were buying drugs from
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd come home from
We're
high
not
school.
friends. Yeah.
And there'd be like the hot guy sitting on my couch. I'm like, what the hell? She's like, smoking a blunt with your mom. I'm like, what the hell? Because Mom would be like, y'all can smoke it here, but you have to share.
Now, Mama never really did it in front of me.
Shit, I was trying to roll joints at 12 just to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
I didn't smoke it, but
I mean,
tried to
she
roll
didn't,
it.
but I mean, people did. And I remember, like, I think I was in first or second grade trying to talk to her. I got up for school and she was like moving in slow motion. She must have liked downers, though, for it to be
yeah.
like a Coke, whatever. But
Yeah.
because she was like moving in slow motion. And I was like, oh, are you kidding? And I was like, Nanny, you need to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to come here. Mama's acting crazy.
But
again.
that's how Mom got a lot of her drugs was she was like, y'all can come to my house and smoke the pot, but you got to share. And so they were like, hell yeah, that's somewhere to go to smoke pot. And she knows hookups. And these are some dumb kids from high school. So yeah.
My mom, pot was never her thing. I don't
Mom
think.
liked pot.
Yeah, hers
a
was
lot.
pills and Coke. I don't know if she ever did anything else.
Mom's was pills and pot. Like
Yeah.
she did alcohol, I think, before I was
And
born.
I used to think pot was so bad.
Oh,
Like,
I
I
did
thought it was
too.
horrible.
Me too.
Like the worst thing in the whole world.
Well, hell,
And-
we did because we were high most of the time because she rode around with the damn windows up and us having to get out of the car and go into school. I said, no wonder I didn't do good at school. I was high as a damn kite. Third grade. And they're like staring off into the, I was like, I had ADHD, the inattentive kind, because I didn't know what the hell's going on.
I just tell everybody, I was like, my mom was, crackhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't grow tall. She stunted my growth.
Well, yeah. Right.
And, then my dad ain't even my dad.
Mine is.
Things your mama did.
Yeah, exactly.
Things you found out from your mama.
Is it
Well,
time?
All
I feel
right,
like
well.
we did it.
We did do good. We rambled.
Covered them. Oh,
Yeah,
see?
we're fucking here.
Whoa, pause.